Welcome to Better Together with your hosts, Emily Italia and Jennifer Morrow. When we all work together, we are stronger and can accomplish more for the kingdom of God. And now, here are the hosts of Better Together, Emily Italia and Jennifer Morrow.
Welcome, friends, to another edition of Better Together. I'm Emily Italia, along here with my co-host, Jennifer Morrow.
Tomorrow. How are you, Em?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. I have to be honest. So I just got back from vacation, literally 10 o'clock last night.
Oh, no.
And so, listeners, I'd like you to know that Emily sends me this picture of these 3 pages of beautifully handwritten notes.
Oh, you're exaggerating. This is chicken scratch.
That is chicken scratch?
I'm like, what did I write?
Mine is like a first grader's. And then I'm like, wow, that's beautiful. And then for those who are watching on YouTube, these are my notes, which is one line of chicken scratch that was written 1 minute ago.
That's because you have a confident interviewer. I need everything in front of me because I'm going to forget things. So.
All right, we'll go with that. Yeah,
absolutely.
How was Thanksgiving?
It was good. It was really nice. Just, what it should be. Lots of fun family together and visiting, lots of good food. I always pass through our food going, there's no way I'm going to be able to get this all on my plate. And then at the end, oh, I forgot to try this because, there were just so many good things to choose from. So good problem to have. How about you?
It was good. It was small. I had my family, a family member visiting from Texas. So that was nice. I hadn't seen him in quite a while. It was a good weekend. Like you said, lots of food.
Lots of leftovers.
Lots of leftovers because there were only 3 people. I watched football, which I don't do.
Oh.
Not that I don't like football. I mean, I guess I don't. But so I just don't sit down and watch it. But when you're with somebody who watches football, but I just like the sense of that on, in the background. There's something comforting about that. So I was pretty proud of myself.
That makes me think of my grandpa because he would always, he didn't strike me as a big sports guy, but he would always watch the college games on Thanksgiving and, whenever there was something big on. So, after you eat, then it's like, okay, we got to have the game on. Yeah. Even if we fall asleep while it's on, it's got to be the presence there. He's big in his big armchair.
That's how I feel. I think it's like a comfort thing.
Yeah. It's just like part of the tradition.
Speaking about your grandfather, on the last show, which was November, you were honoring your family through All Souls, All Saints, by posting every day a member of your family and just kind of bringing people around to the ancestry. How did that go at the end there? I saw that it was staying strong every day.
It was right up until about Thanksgiving. And then I kind of fell off the wagon a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I still have a few more people actually from John's extended family that I wanted to honor too. So I said, well, Advent still works for that. So I'm gonna go back and hopefully this week now that our magazine production is finished and get a little breath of fresh air and update that again. But it was just really edifying to be able to look into the lives of people who I had known and people who I hadn't known from my family but I have the connection just through stories and, or I'd see these photographs and ask my mom, okay, well, how are we related to these people and what's their story? I have a, great grandma, Maggie, who actually in 1967 dictated part of her story to her kids, and my grandmother typed it out. And so I was retyping it, so I have a digital copy now. Oh. And, this is a woman who stopped going to school, I think maybe when she was 13 or 14 and started working on a farm. And just very simple language, but just matter of fact, this is our life. This is what we went through. It was hard and it was good, and we're thankful for it.
Right.
It's pretty amazing.
I'm so glad that she wrote that down and then that it was dictated so you don't forget.
I know, because never having met her in person, or at least if I did, I was so young, I don't remember it.
Right.
Just having that kind of familial connection and that she was a foundation for the people I did know. Mm-hmm. So how about you? When you think about your family, do you have some ancestry or some photographs to pull back on?
Yes, on my grandparents' side, on the Texas side, they have detailed. There's a ancestry designate.
Nice. You've got a family historian.
Thanks. I can't pronounce words even when I'm not tired. But it's there's a huge book. We've tracked our history back down to on that side to England.
Ooh.
A duke ran away from England and settled in Texas. We had a cow at the Alamo, so I felt pretty bad about my cow. I felt pretty good about the cow. But, speaking of that, going back to my dad's side for a second, who they're from Germany, they immigrated here. Um, there is my grandfather. When my grandfather was in World War II, there was no, technology, right? Except for really like records. So my grandmother, my dad has it now. It's a record of like all the little kids saying like, "Hi, Dad," and singing to them. And then my grandmother sent that record like overseas to my grandfather, and he got it and somehow played
How
it.
precious.
But that record actually still exists. I heard it a couple years ago, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like my dad and all my aunts when they were kids.
Well, you've got to get that
Yeah.
digitally processed
That's
so
a
you
good
don't
point.
lose it.
Don't lose
Yeah.
it.
Although records, I think, are pretty good in quality, like long standing, not like
As
not
long
like
as they're
tapes.
not like scratched or something. But yeah. So
That's
stuff.
amazing.
yeah.
Oh, very nice. So, you doing anything for preparation for Advent this year? Anything that you like to do to kind of get into the spirit and?
Well, you know what? I mentioned on the last show that I had just started a Marian consecration.
Oh, that's right. How's that going?
It ends this week with the Marian feast on December 8th. And I have to say that it's been a great journey. I've never really knew what a consecration was. So I definitely encourage anybody who's interested in doing a Marian consecration. I know there's one to St. Joseph as well. Give it a try because it's been really eye-opening. And, it's full disclosure, confession moment. I'm not good at praying. Like I have a lot of trouble staying in, probably because my mind's always going.
Me too.
But this was like, like 1 page a day to read and then really sit with. And then I would find myself just going back and reading it again during the week or going back and taking notes or underlining things because it really resonates and it really sticks with you.
It sounds accessible. Like
very much.
Yeah.
So it was great. So that's
I love that.
that has nothing to do with Advent, but I just wanted to mention that because
Good preparation leading up to.
Yes,
It just gets you in the right frame of mind.
that's kind of what I was thinking. Actually, I thought it was
Yeah.
great timing. So yeah. And what about you?
So our church does the Little Blue Books.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if everybody's familiar with those. I think they're literally called littlebooks.com. But they do them for the different seasons of the church year.
Writing that down.
And our church provides them for Advent, and then I think they do them also for Lent and Easter.
Okay.
But it's just literally 6 minutes a day. It was started by this priest in Saginaw, Michigan. And unfortunately, I didn't write his name down, but I think it should be at littlebooks.com.
Okay.
But the idea was it's just literally 2 pages every day of there's a scripture reading reference. There's a little bit of history about either the saint that's known that day or something about Advent, and then a little reflection. And his goal was to get everybody to pray like 6 minutes a day, just to get your feet wet.
Yep.
If you're not accustomed to that
Yep.
ritual. And I love it because it's very easy for us to do as a family. I can get buy-in for 6 minutes before
Get a buy-in.
bedtime, or or at the table we light the Advent candle. I'm like, okay, who wants to read from the little book?
Yeah.
So
Oh, I love that.
yeah,
I don't know if I've seen that before. I've done the Bishop Barron one. Like, you
Oh,
can get the
yes,
Advent books.
good
I did
book.
that like a year ago, and that one was really good. Same concept is, what'd you say, the buy-in? The 6 minute
Yes.
buy-in? Yeah, I need the buy-in. And so, yeah, it was like that.
right. Because if it's going to be a long time period, I might have the desire, but in the moment, I'll either forget or go, oh, let me do that later, and then
Right.
it doesn't happen.
Same like the Marian consecration. I know that I need to read a page a day because there's chapters. And like I said, they're small, but it's that reminder of no, I need to set some time aside for myself. Except really, it's not for myself. It's for our relationship. God and I have to work on that relationship because he's there. He's ready. He's ready to roll. I'm the one who's like, hold on 1 minute. And I was like, but so I think you were right. I think the Marian consecration has really helped me prepare for Advent.
I'm going to have to make it a goal to do that this next year. You're inspiring me.
So awesome. Love it.
Excellent.
So what we got going on the show today?
Oh, boy. Today, we're going to try to talk with 2 wonderful organizations in it happens to be in the Diocese of Trenton area, but probably very similar across the dioceses. We have 2 organizations that offer Christmas meals in person. And this came to me a few weeks ago, just thinking about what must it be like if you do not have a family or friends to spend Christmas with, or maybe it's too much of an expense for you to do that, or people who are impoverished. What do they do on a holiday when they don't have the means to create a Christmas meal or create that sense of community? And these 2 places are providing that Christmas meal in person. and not just coming to pick up the meal and take it home, but to actually have community and to actually spend time with people, which is, what we're about as a Catholic Church, is spending time with people in community and having that faith extension be with other people.
Right. Now, you did mention the Monitor, which is the magazine for the Diocese of Trenton. Did you just recently put out your
We did.
probably Advent Christmas issue?
Yes, and it's a mammoth issue. So, be ready to get that from the mailbox. It's going to be a heavy one. I think it was 76 pages.
Oh, man.
So we have a substantial section that is focusing on children and all of the various things that are facing them these days, risks via social media or world hunger, climate change, all these things that are coming at them that, we're concerned about as adults and people of faith and how we can respond to their needs.
That's good. I'm actually looking forward to reading that then. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
That one specifically. I was recently hanging out with a child that I am related to. I'm not going to, out this child, because I was shocked to find that, and I don't know if it's because of COVID or what, but when we were out at museums, he wanted nothing to do with like space or things of the unknown or like that. It was almost like too nebulous. And I was talking to my other family member, and she was just saying that she's seen a lot of anxiety in children in schools, in the elementary school, especially this COVID generation. Right. So I can't wait to pick up that issue to see, that's a really good idea.
Absolutely.
Good brainstorming over there.
Yeah.
Sure.
And what's going on over in Camden Diocese? Anything special coming up for Advent or Christmas?
We will have some Advent coverage in the next Catholic Star Herald in the Diocese of Camden. We'll also have an interesting story. We had a young woman who just became a consecrated virgin a few days before Thanksgiving. Our good friend Jeff Bruno was there to take some photos.
Oh, nice.
He's a professional Catholic photographer, and everyone doesn't know him. So it's a really interesting, I've been to multiple ordinations for priests, profession of vows for a few sisters actually, but I haven't seen the rites for a consecrated virgin. So it was very interesting. So pick up the next Catholic Star Herald for some amazing photos and just kind of hear about her journey.
Oh, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Nice.
So who are we talking to first? I guess we'll get them on the phone in a minute.
That's right. So we're going to be visiting with Joyce Campbell at Trenton Area Soup Kitchen, and it's also known by its acronym TASK. But she's actually had a history with Catholic Charities for many years, and now she has a role at TASK where she's helping organize the meals. So we'll talk to her a little bit more about her role there and how she's helping bring about this Christmas in person.
Great. So stick around, everybody. We'll be right back with our first guest.
Bishop Robert Barron on the priesthood.
I'm kind of a teacher by nature. I always have been. I've always loved books and ideas and life of the mind and speaking and all that. So I brought that into the priesthood. A very wise thing was said a long time ago, namely that if God chose you to be a priest, he chose you to be a priest, meaning he chose you with your particular gifts and what you're going to bring. So you don't leave that behind. On the contrary, God chose me with these particular gifts. So I've always discerned that teaching and writing and preaching and proclaiming would be a key part of it. And it has been. I found great joy in that. I've always found joy in the pastoral work. I did it when I was newly ordained. I was in a parish for 4 years. And whenever I would go to a hospital, I go to a nursing home, go into the school, counsel engaged couples. I always found great joy in that, even though it's challenging.
The leading Catholic voices are on EWTN Radio.
Scripture says the joy of the Lord is your strength. Joy makes you attractive, helps you enjoy life, safeguards your energy. Being resentful, angry, and miserable just makes you tired. Joy is strength. That's why the devil wants to rob your joy. He wants to sap your strength. He wants to steal that next great moment with your kids and have you be focused on mean stuff someone did to you at work instead. Ever think of how easy it is to focus on something negative that happened to you and how hard it is to stay focused on positive things? We never tend to obsess on positive interactions like, dang it, I just can't shake the thought of that guy who was kind enough to let me in front of him on the freeway. Right? Listen, you only get about 30,000 days on this earth. Don't ever give a whole day to being angry at somebody else's bad behavior. No one is worth that. As St. Teresa of Avila said, Let nothing disturb you. This is Chris Stefanik from reallifecatholic.com on EWTN Radio.
Joyce, thank you so much for joining us on the program today. This is Emily Italia, and I'm here with Jen Morrow.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Good morning. It's great to be here.
Thank you for joining us. I know you have a history with other social service agencies in the Diocese of Trenton, like Catholic Charities. Would you be able to give us an idea of maybe how that informed your current role at the Trenton Area Soup Kitchen and what your role is there now?
Sure, I'd be happy to. I've got a 40-year career in social work, primarily focused on anti-poverty efforts. I did spend 20 years at Catholic Charities, which really laid a wonderful foundation for me with all the opportunities afforded there to move on to become the CEO of TASC, where I've been CEO since June of 2016. So it's wonderful to sort of reconnect with some media that I had in the past through Catholic Charities, because certainly it's a great opportunity. And now at TASC, I basically oversee all of our operations, and I'm happy to have an opportunity to talk about TASC today.
Well, that's excellent. So I know that Trenton Area Soup Kitchen has a calendar of meals available. Is it every day of the calendar year?
So we are open 6 days a week for meals, which is Monday through Thursday. We serve a lunch and a dinner. Friday and Saturday we serve a lunch. We are open most all major holidays, even if it's just for one meal. Some holidays are open 2 days, so we're not ever open Sundays. But that's the only day that we're not operating at this point. And I think it's important to note that, our main facility with our dining room is at 72.5 Escher Street in Trenton. However, we deliver meals to 35 other sites throughout the city, the county, and actually we have a couple of sites in Morrisville, Pennsylvania. So those are on a whole different, sort of schedule. Most of them are one time a week, but we also do deliver meals to several low-income housing units in Trenton. So we're out and about all the time.
Now, Joyce, can you talk a little bit about the importance of that? We're talking today, like Emily explained earlier, if you don't have family and friends to spend Christmas with, but also this idea of being present during Advent and Christmas, like be present at Christmas, be a gift to others. I mean, how important is TASC also, in addition to the food, but just, kind of everybody keeping an eye on each other to make sure everybody's safe, or, somebody's, not missing, that means that they've been hurt or something like that. Can you talk to that a little bit?
Yeah, TASC, we really are all about dignity and respect, welcoming the stranger. We have intentionally adopted radical hospitality, which really is a tradition in a lot of faith traditions. Again, that welcoming, that we are food first, no questions asked. Anybody can come in, sit down and have a meal. We won't take any information from you. And we will try to make everything as pleasant as possible. I have to say, everybody on our staff values that and adopts it, so that the dining experience really becomes a place, where people are in community. And that's really our facility, our main facility in Trenton. We are really a community hub, because not only do we provide food there, but we provide a whole range of wraparound services, case management, to job search, to, we give out hygiene items and reader glasses and socks, and we have a robust arts program. So I think it's that welcoming and that wraparound, particularly for people who don't have family. And we definitely have a population of those folks who we've seen over the years that, TASC has become their family.
Right.
So our holiday meals are, twice as important for them.
I was going to ask, actually, how would you say the Christmas meal is a little bit different experience from the day-to-day? You have some special events planned or special guests?
Well, Christmas Day, actually, it is a special meal. This year's menu, you're going to be having a ribeye with roasted potato and asparagus spears. And we're also going to have New England clam chowder as our soup. So with the holiday, we'll have Santa there. We'll have music. We have, and the volunteers will be serving everything to the table, which means that the soup will go to the tables, coffee. The only thing people might have to, get for themselves is we have a salad bar, which provides choice. That we actually have every day. But, the dining room will be decorated, and it just will be a very special time. And, people will be treated to a wonderful meal. We had an incredible Thanksgiving where, our chef really pays attention to making sure the quality of the food is good and that it looks good when it's plated. So that's pretty much, our Christmas Day. We have several faith-based organizations that contribute to that meal. We also do a nice meal on Christmas Eve. And that meal, every Christmas Eve, is sponsored by the Muslim Center of Greater Princeton. And we together chose that day for them to sponsor because one of the things they knew was that Christmas Eve, for Christians is, even though it's not the Christmas Day, it is a big time of celebration. So they wanted to be able to come in and provide Christmas Eve meal, for a time that's not their holiday. And we're doing a crab stuffed tilapia that day. I'm very proud to say that because we do really pay attention to what we serve for the holidays.
I'll say those are both like meals I cannot cook.
I was gonna say this is restaurant quality fare. So what a wonderful gift to be able to offer that to people, particularly those who, especially if they're on their own, they're probably not cooking a lot, or maybe they don't have the means to. So what a wonderful gift to give them.
I love that interreligious cooperation, which I think, also just fosters more understanding between faiths as well. I love that.
Absolutely. I mean, we see that, and we've seen it for many years, at TASC, where all faith communities, come together. Everyone, believes in, social justice and people having enough to eat. So it really does. And I mean, I can, again, a Catholic Charities, there were a variety of different interfaith things, but to come to TASC, made it come together even more. And we do have some, very supportive Catholic parishes in the area as well. So we're grateful.
Sorry, I was going to ask, just how many volunteers does it take to make this happen, to pull together?
So for our Christmas meal, we'll probably have between 30 to 40 volunteers there. We're just in the process of getting the shifts settled because normally we have some people come in earlier that help in the kitchen or help set up, and then we have folks come in to help serve. So typically, for the meal service on Christmas, there will probably be at least 30 volunteers there, manning the different stations, bringing around the items, bringing the meals, cleaning up, helping folks at the salad bar. So, that's pretty typical. Usually any given day for a meal service, we use about 20 volunteers.
Wow.
And they are absolutely, we couldn't do it without them by any means.
Now, do you find that you get more volunteers at the seasons, like at the holidays, but maybe not get as many volunteers during the year? Like, is that something that you're always looking for as volunteers?
We're always looking for volunteers, and it's absolutely true. The message is this is year-round. Usually Thanksgiving actually is also a big meal for us, and we've had to cut off volunteers. You can only have so many folks. People will walk in and they'll want to volunteer, which is wonderful intention. But you know what? We'd really love you to come back in the summer because a lot of people are on vacation in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're so busy with so many other things that, that's so important because what happens when we don't have volunteers, say, over the summers, I've got to take staff off of their jobs because somebody's got to serve the meal. So it's kind of like, which we absolutely do. We go right into that. Getting the meal served is the number one thing. But really not to, value volunteer service is important during the summer too. We value it year round, so don't sort of underestimate, the fact that it's critical to us at that time of year as well as now.
Right. And I like to, just to go back to something you said at the very beginning, you said radical hospitality, and that kind of makes me think about, October being Respect Life Month, and that's kind of that theme that was pushed out this year, especially is that radical solidarity. And I think that we sometimes can tend to say, oh, well, October is over, Respect Life Month is going in. But the fact that you use those words is just like that constant reminder that radical solidarity is needed all year. Like you said, especially in the summer when you need volunteers.
Yeah.
Right. Very good
Yeah,
point.
definitely. The problems are year round. The holidays we just try to make more special because for most of us or many of us, it is a special time. So it's not wanting our folks to miss out on some of that extra specialness that we get.
Right.
And did you say that in the dining room there's some extra things going on for Christmas, like some entertainment?
Well, we do have Holiday Express, which comes in at one time in December, which is a volunteer group they've been around a while. They come in and they perform a wonderful concert. It's all volunteers, and they really kind of get people going. We do have our own band and music, which will play, in the dining room as well. And then Christmas Day, as I said, we usually have Santa. We have music or whatever happening. We always have music playing in the dining room, but it will be Christmas music, obviously, that day.
That's fantastic.
And then, I don't want to jump. I don't,
go
so
ahead.
many
Did you have
questions, and I'm not the one who took all the notes.
No, go ahead.
Okay. You mentioned something that I'm really glad you did because I wanted to bring this up. I had a question for you. You mentioned not only food, but hygiene products. I've heard, especially lately, I've been talking to a lot of food pantries or St. Vincent de Paul, and they say, people tend to bring the same kinds of food, but, like food stamps and things might not cover hygiene products or toilet paper and things. Like, is that something that you guys always feel like you're in need of, or maybe is forgotten?
We are absolutely in need of it. Task has always provided a monthly hygiene kit, which is basically like, full-size shampoo, body soap, toothbrush, toothpaste, deodorant, shaving cream, razor. We've provided those for years, and we also collect trial sizes, which we'll give out, a hotel size. And we have had an incredible increase in demand in the last year for hygiene products. But this time last year, we maybe gave out 450 hygiene bags in a month. We are now at 1,000.
Oh, my.
We have had, and again, going back to radical hospitality and welcoming the stranger, we have seen a large influx of Spanish-speaking immigrants, particularly families with young children. And so for the first time this year, we actually started asking for children's hygiene products. We had never done that before. And so now we also give those families a pack for the children, the baby shampoo, the less, chemically filled, the children's stuff, I think, that's really better suited to kids rather than the adult hygiene products.
Right.
So we are really, really struggling to keep up in that particular area. And that's something, groups do a lot, school groups, church groups, will get together and they'll purchase a bunch of items and they put the bags together and deliver them to Task. And that is just a wonderful option for the holidays,
and it's,
particularly with what we're experiencing right now.
It's particularly nice for those who may want to volunteer in person but can't, that there's still ways for them to help. I noticed on the website that there were some options to click on depending upon, whether you wanted to volunteer in the facility or if you wanted to make things ahead of time. Did you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure. We provide, as you mentioned on the website, a list of ways to give, and, giving supplies is one. There's a wish list which will get updated. Sometimes we'll put out an updated wish list on our Facebook page, so that if there's seasonally, like you'll see this time, the website wish list has, hoodies and gloves and scarves on it. Okay. Look at that list in the summer and might have those portable hand fans. So there's that. And there's also a list of other things. We ask folks to wrap utensils for us. We have groups that bake birthday cakes. I mean, there's just a variety of different ways to help. in particular because we don't have anybody volunteering who's under 13. It provides a lot of opportunities for youth groups, kids groups. We have Girl Scout troops that bake birthday cakes. So, we have a couple days during the month that I think they have a birthday this month and they get a homemade birthday cake. So there's a lot of options of ways to help. And like you said before, things that folks don't often think of that make a tremendous difference. I can't tell you how the birthday cake makes a huge difference for people.
Oh, I can imagine. Just so that people know, if they want to take advantage of those opportunities, the website is TrentonSoupKitchen.org. Do I have that right?
Correct.
And then
yes,
there's a spot to click on volunteer.
Right. If anybody is interested in volunteering on Christmas Day, however, the best way to do that is to contact our volunteer coordinator, our Charlie Orth. And you can reach him. His email is charlieo@TrentonSoupKitchen.org. And then there are calendars on the website for other times, but because it's a special day and we have different shifts, he asked that people contact him directly if they want to volunteer on Christmas Day.
Oh, thank you so much for that information. That's really important. So we really just value the opportunity to visit with you today, Joyce. Thank you for your time and for all you're doing to help people, particularly at this time of year.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking with you.
Absolutely.
Have a great season.
Thank you.
Okay, you too.
All right, bye-bye. I'm so glad that she brought up some of those points, like I said, like the hygiene products, or the one about the idea that more families need the ones for children or infant.
Right. Because when you're thinking of who might be in need, maybe your mind goes to adults rather than children. And, children have a hard time, using an adult-sized toothbrush or the toothpaste or any of those things. Or,
Right.
You can't use adult lotion or hair products on a baby. So that's really important.
And she alluded to the blessing bags. I think there's so many parishes across, I know across New Jersey anyway, that do the blessing bag ministries, or, where they get all the youth groups together and putting all those little toiletries in the bag. So, and I know there's some outstanding parishes in Trenton and Camden. I'm sure there's more, but because we're representing those two right now.
Right.
So, if you have a youth group or a school group and you're looking for a project this Advent leading up to Christmas, I would highly suggest looking into the idea of the blessing bags, which is basically, getting some Ziploc bags and getting donations and having the kids put, it's usually like toothpaste, little toothbrush.
Anything that you might use in the bathroom to get ready for the day,
Right.
or before you go to bed at night, just kind of think of what are these products that would really be difficult for me not to have.
It's such a good teaching tool.
It is, so 100%.
Yeah. All right, well, we're going to take another break, and then we'll be back with our next guest. Stay tuned.
Hello, I'm Bishop David O'Connell, the Bishop of the Diocese of Trenton, and this is a Eucharistic moment. Venerable Archbishop Fulton J. Sheen, renowned 20th century American philosopher, writer, and preacher, reflected, "When I stand up to talk, people listen to me. They will follow what I have to say. Is it any power of mine? Of course not. St. Paul says, 'What have you that you have not received? And you who have received, why do you glory as if you had not?' But the secret of my power is that I have never in 55 years missed spending an hour in the presence of our Lord in the Blessed Sacrament. That's where the power comes from. That's where sermons are born. That's where every good thought is conceived."
I think I just found myself believing that I didn't need God. I just had everything under control, and church was actually a burden to me.
I might have gone to church, at Christmas time, gradually quit going.
No, I didn't take my faith seriously, which probably means I never really got it to begin with.
You can have a beautiful car, a big fancy home, but if you don't have Christ in your life, there's an emptiness that's there.
We are enslaved to power or to greed or to wealth or to lust, especially as a man. But there's a true freedom to not be enslaved, but to attach ourselves to God and to be free. Thank God I'm home.
Now that I'm back in the Catholic Church,
I'm a new person. I love it.
There's peace in our home that we didn't have before.
You're coming home to a Catholic family where people today just embrace you.
If you've been away from the Catholic Church for whatever reason, we invite you to take another look. Visit CatholicsComeHome.org today.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Better Together. I'm Jen Morrow, and with me is Emily Italia. And next, we're talking today about being present for Christmas and how to be a gift to others, especially when it comes to maybe helping with food and items. And we have our next guest, who I believe on the phone right now is Christopher and Joseph Rua from St. Mary Parish, Barnegat. Hi, guys.
Hi, Jen. Hi, Emily. How's it going? Thanks for
Nice
having
to talk with you. Thank you for coming on with us today.
Absolutely.
So why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about the ministry at St. Mary's Parish in Barnegat and, what the name of it is and what y'all do?
Absolutely. So the brief history is we started this in 2009 when our niece, Michaela, it was right after the 2008 economic crisis, and she wanted to help some of the homeless that we knew who were living in their cars. They had just lost their home. So it started off really simple with our family just making 12 to 15 meals and passing them out. We put up flyers to let people know where we would be passing them out at, and we gave the meals out. After that, our Monsignor, Ken Tuzanu, he approached us and said, why don't you have it at the church? So then the first year we had more volunteers than people because we weren't very effective in getting the word out. But since then, it's really grown. We have support from the Ken's Kitchen, which is the food and kitchen. They cook meals weekly for those in need. And also our Knights of Columbus Council, we're both fourth-degree Knights, Council 3826 out of Barnegat. They kind of took over the cooking duties. And so now, we're serving upwards of 500 people with food delivery and for them to come pick it up. Originally it was in person, but because of the pandemic, we switched to a delivery service and a pickup service. We realized we could help more people that way, so we've kept it that way since.
Now, when you say that you're serving 500 people, is this at the holidays, like Thanksgiving and Christmas, or every weekend?
So this is for Christmas. Originally, we had a sit-down meal on Christmas Day where people could come and they would have a nice hot meal. We would have clothes, sometimes canned food for them. And then when the pandemic hit, we tried to figure out a way to serve them. And so we decided, okay, now we can at least have them come pick it up. Did the whole social distancing. And we also had some that are homebound. We actually had about 150 who are homebound. We work in conjunction with Ken's Kitchen. And so there's about 150 meals that get delivered. And now the rest come and pick it up. But it's just around Christmas time.
Okay. Now, I love the idea that this started with your niece. Is that what you said?
Yeah, correct.
It's like, it kind of leads into this like whole homegrown, concept, right? Like, I think that sometimes we make things complicated, but you guys just saw a small need in the community, and your niece was like, let's do something. And then you guys hit the ground running. Yeah,
this started out so simple, just cooking some food in our parents' kitchen and bringing it out. And then it from such a humble beginning, now, like I said, we've got buy-in from the church, we've got buy-in from the Knights of Columbus. PetSmart gives us a lot of stuffed animals every year, so we give those out to the kids that show up. We have clothes. Wawa has donated a lot of food, so it's really grown into something pretty amazing from such a simple beginning.
So we were talking earlier about, if you have kids in school, or if you are a school, or if you are a parish and you're looking for something for, youth to do during the Advent or Christmas. Even we were talking about blessing bags, like putting little hygiene items in bags, but think outside the box like you guys did in your niece.
Yeah, and I think that speaks a lot to people are so good in their hearts that they just want something to do at Christmas time. They realize they themselves are blessed in some way, and they want to find a way to help others. I mean, the outpouring of volunteers we get every year who tell us we just wanted to do something. Like, we realize we're fortunate at this point in the season. We want to do something to help others. Even sometimes those who take meals, who are in need, they say, you know what? I'm taking a meal, but I want to earn it. I want to volunteer as well, and then I'll take my meal at the end. So it really is just, it speaks to the Christian heart. And we have, people of all different, we have obviously Catholics, we have other denominations of Christianity. We even have some of our Jewish friends come and help out. And it's wonderful to see everyone come together. They just want to do something in the holiday season to help someone.
It's such a great way to build community within different faiths. We have all this in common, that we recognize this need in the human person to have community. And even though you can't serve the meal in person, or you just haven't for the last couple of years, it's still an extension of that community.
Mm-hmm.
And
and it's just making sure that they have a hot meal on Christmas. So we typically cook the 22nd. The Knights of Columbus will get together. We'll cook the night of the 22nd. On the 23rd is when we will distribute the meals. We'll have the deliveries go out, and then those who are picking up will come pick up. They'll come into the parish center. We'll have the clothes set up. They can shop for the clothes, whatever they need. Occasionally, we have a few toys that are there for the kids. But we work really closely with another ministry at St. Mary's, the Toy Run, who have been doing a toy giveaway for probably 20 years at this point. So we work closely with them to make sure that anyone that we have that needs toys goes to their ministry, and then we basically focus on the food and the clothes.
So how do people who would like to receive a meal, how do they reach out and let you know that they would like to be considered on that list?
Yeah, so the way we do it is we have it in our church bulletin, and we also we can give you a phone number. Yeah, we basically serve Waretown, Manahawkin, Barnegat, and a little bit of Tuckerton. And they would either have a phone number in the bulletin, or we put posters up in areas that we know are high traffic by those who are in need. And so they would just call that phone number and be able to have a meal.
Okay, that's good. Is that one that you'd like to provide for us?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the service area is Barnegat, Manahawkin, Tuckerton, and Waretown. They would be calling 609-978-6508.
And is that
if they are in those towns and they need a hot meal for Christmas, absolutely, they can call that number and we can provide it.
Excellent. And is that the same number if you have there's a volunteer who wants to say, where do you need the help the most? What's the best number?
Absolutely. They can call that same number.
Same number?
Yep.
So I think it's pretty cool, actually. I don't know if Emily planned this because Emily did a lot of planning for the show. You guys that we're talking to right now are Southern Ocean County. And we spoke with someone right before you came on that was Mercer County.
Right.
So we have, today is the Diocese of Trenton show. We have traversed, one end of the diocese to the other and I think that's pretty cool. And we all know that these are just two examples, that there are a lot of other of our parishes out there doing this. But I don't know, just thought that was pretty neat to notice that we've bookended.
That's amazing. And I would encourage anyone who is either looking to volunteer or if they are in fact in need, call your local parish. And there is going to be someone in your area who is providing some service for Christmas. Whether it's
we have a lot of St. Vincent de Paul.
To cook, something along those lines. They're providing a meal. Something along the lines of providing a service for Christmas. Every parish is doing something.
Mm-hmm. Do you know if you see or hear from a lot of the same people from year to year?
Oh, we do. We have people that have been there from the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Last 15 years.
Yep.
It's great.
Yeah.
And every year they ask.
Nope, go ahead.
Sorry?
Go ahead.
Oh, no. Every year they ask, are we going to do it again this year? Are we doing it again? What can I do? What can I do to help? So it's great.
Looking forward to it.
Well, I was kind of thinking about what Emily said earlier about community, but I mean, you guys must, since you've been doing it for a while, you might start looking for the same faces, and they might be looking for you, kind of like a catch up. Like it's been a year, but how are you?
Yeah, we do see that. We have people who come in and they're like, hey, how's it going? Because whatever economic condition they're in has improved from year to year. I mean, what we'd like to in a way, it sounds weird. We prefer not to see some of the same faces from year to year because that means that their condition has improved and that they don't need a meal for Christmas because whatever hardship they were dealing with got better. But there are some people who it's just, we see it every day. It's just perpetually they are in some kind of hardship. And so those are the people we get to know. We get to talk with them and those are the ones who I was mentioning before want to help as they're getting their meal. They'll be like, hey, can I help distribute some stuff before I go? And so they recognize that they've been using the service for a while, and they are the ones that really want to give back because they understand how blessed they are to receive the help that they're getting, that they want to, in a way, spread that to everyone else.
Aww. I've heard that with other social service organizations too, where those who have benefited, they're so touched by that experience that they say, I want to be a part of this now. Now that I'm on my feet and I'm no longer in the same need that I was, I want to be able to be that helping hand.
Mm-hmm.
So it's people who can really relate.
At least 2 examples of individuals who contacted us and say, I'm actually not calling for a meal this year. I'm calling to help. Because they managed to get out of what situation they were in. And they don't need a hot meal this year. Mm-hmm. They're on good footing. But they wanted to come back and help and volunteer with the organization because we got them through 1, 2, 3 years of a tough time in their life. Now they're good. They want to come back and help. Mm-hmm. So it really is, it's a blessing to see that.
It's evangelization. It's evangelization. It's in its most simplest form, I would say. And, almost unintentional, and then look what happens.
That's a really good point. That's a really good point. That's exactly what it is.
Now, do you have home chefs who are cooking and bringing food as well, or is all the food prepared on site at St. Mary's?
Oh, we do have some parishioners that will make some baked goods and bring it, mm-hmm. But most of the food, and fortunately, our Knights of Columbus Council and our Ken's Kitchen ministry. We have some pretty good chefs, though. Yeah, we have some former restaurant owners, former chefs who got some bona fides next to their name, and they help prepare the food.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if this is universal about Knights of Columbus, but when there's food to serve, it feels like at every parish, they're doing a spaghetti dinner or a cookout, they are in the kitchen getting their hands dirty, and just like I don't know where we would be without them.
We've spent many a day in the kitchen. Doing a lot of times, Monsignor will call us up and say, can you cook for the parish picnic? We're having this fundraiser. Can you cook for this? Even I mentioned before the toy run, which in 2 weeks we're getting ready to distribute the toys for that. The Knights of Columbus, a subset of the Knights of Columbus does the cooking for that. So yeah, we're always in the kitchen getting our hands dirty.
Well, you also mentioned something else. This kind of goes back to what I've already talked about, but, not existing in a silo, right? Like there's other parishes, there's other ministries now working together within the parish to kind of all help each other out.
Yeah. And that's one of the biggest things is breaking down those silos, because a lot of times there are duplication across ministries, and that shouldn't be the case. If we're focusing on, for our community, the food on Christmas, we have another ministry that will take care of the toys. We have another ministry that will take care of the weekly meals. And so I think it's important that parishes look to make sure they're not having duplication of efforts. And also, when it's appropriate, if there are parishes that are close to each other that have similar aims and similar ministries, doing a tag team of sorts and being able to then widen what they're able to serve.
Yeah, and that happens sometimes where ministries, they get so wrapped up in what they're doing that they tend to forget to look to the other ministries in the same parish that are doing similar services and working together.
I think that's easy to do. We get an idea and we take it on, but when we don't share the responsibility, we get overwhelmed, and then it might not come to fruition.
Right.
Yeah. Having it become an overwhelming, in the early days, it was quite overwhelming. With trying to coordinate volunteers, trying to coordinate the food, trying to coordinate the people who were signing up, making sure we had the numbers right, so we had a good estimation of how many meals we had to make. And so, yeah, it can definitely be overwhelming. And if you're not, we've been doing it long enough where we sort of have it down to science, but every year we get thrown a curveball, of course, and we have to deal with that on the fly. But for a lot of ministries, I think they may not have that experience, and they may be nervous about starting to do something because it seems so daunting and overwhelming. But just like how we started off with very small, handing out a dozen and a half meals, it can start something really small and then expand out. And that's how you kind of get rid of that daunting feeling, because you have kind of humble beginnings and then you just slowly expand the mission and then work with those other ministries in the church.
Right. You can't start with, okay, we're going to feed the world today. You just got to
Correct,
start
exactly.
start
and
local.
every year we learn a new lesson. We, like I said, in the beginning, we didn't know how to get the word out. So we didn't post flyers. We didn't talk to the radio stations. We didn't, and every year we learned something new and to make it better, because none of us went into this knowing what we were doing.
Yeah, we had no clue we were getting ourselves into when we started this. We just thought, we know there are people who have lost their houses because of the '08 crisis. They're living in their cars. I remember this older woman in her 60s was living in her car, and when we brought her the meal, she tried to give us $100 as a tip, and we were like, no, you keep that. Like, you need that. But that's how she felt grateful that we were bringing a hot meal for Christmas. She was trying to give us $100. We're like, no, you should probably hold on to that.
Wow.
You may need that. And so from that, and then slowly, to your point, you can't feed the world right off the bat. Slowly expand out. And then you'd be surprised at how much you can touch if you just slowly expand your mission.
That's beautifully said. And I'm so glad you shared the story, because, we're talking about the idea of being a gift to others and being present, being a present for others. But it's so important to notice that it's a two-way street. I mean, I am sure that when that woman wanted to give you $100, you must have been absolutely blown away and moved.
Yeah, we were certainly not expecting it. I mean, we had posted flyers in a couple of areas where we knew that those who were living in their cars would be at. We worked with a family friend of ours, Deb Armitage, who was a retired state trooper.
Mm-hmm.
She knew where she was walking her dog a lot. She knew where these people were staying, and so we put the flyers up. And yeah, we weren't expecting someone to try to pay us. We just took some meals in my parents' kitchen, and so it was very touching. And that story stuck with me, and that was in 2009, and that story stuck with me since.
Oh, well, gentlemen, I can't thank you enough for being on the show with us. I'm going to give out that number again. It's 609-978-6508. For those
Correct.
who are in the Barnegat, Manahawkin, what was a little bit of Tuckerton and
Waretown.
Waretown. Thank you. Thank you both so much for being on the show, and we wish you a good holiday.
Merry Christmas.
Thanks, Jen. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for having us. We really appreciate it, and I hope you have a very Merry Christmas. God bless.
Mm-hmm.
Thank
God
you,
bless
too.
I think all of our guests today have just, I'm going to have to go back to that idea of that two-way giving. It's, we some people might be providing them meals, but what the people who are receiving the meals are providing back are, sometimes they're sharing a little part of their lives or their life stories, giving you a handshake or a hug. And that is just as rewarding. If I was a volunteer, I'm sure we both have been in that position as volunteers before,
Sure.
that, I've gone home and cried my eyes out over some of the wonderful people I've met.
And it's difficult to be in a position where you need to accept a gift, because you don't have the capacity to respond in kind.
Yep.
So I think that probably inspires a lot of these folks who, after they've had years where things were lean and they needed the help, they really do want to be able to pay that forward.
Well, I think it all goes down to evangelization, and I'm going to butcher Bishop Barron how he said it before, but he always says, especially at Christmas, once you go visit Jesus, you can't turn around and walk back the same path because you've encountered Jesus. Now you go a different path.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
I love that.
Listen to Barron say it. He says it a lot better. But basically, that's the gist.
Oh,
so it's been a great show, Emily.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank
for
you,
doing all the
Jen.
prep work, and I wish you Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Can't wait to do this again.
Listeners, we wish you a very Merry Christmas.
And a beautiful Advent.